Hey everyone, Leslie Myrick here, Nancy Ganzikoffer's associate coach and interior designer. This is Message Mastery, and we are here with the fabulous Masha Quinn of Content Vertical. Welcome back, Masha.
Thanks so much, Leslie. Nice to be here.
I'm excited for your office makeover. If anyone's watched our videos with Masha before, you can see she's up to something in her office and has a blank wall right now. So as a designer, I am just eating this up and I cannot wait to see what she does. But that's not what we're talking about today. And we didn't talk about the topic at all before we went live. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about this. Today's topic is the secret ingredient of a high impact website, which makes it sound like you've got a cool trick for us. What's the
Little
secret
mysterious.
ingredient? Yeah, I love it. What is it? What do we need to know today?
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's get going with this. So I
Okay.
want you for a second to think back to the time, and that's mostly for your audience then for you. Oh, actually maybe for you too, Leslie. So
Okay.
think back to if you've ever hired a coach or if you've ever enrolled in a program or signed up to take a course or join the mastermind, whatever that is. When you
Yep.
signed up at one point in that kind of customer journey, you did go on a website to check whoever it is that you were
Mm-hmm.
looking into. You went on their website. Maybe it was a sales page, maybe it was a landing page to check out the messaging, and you finally pressed go and you signed up. The reason why
Yes.
you did that is because something resonated,
Mm-hmm.
something clicked. You felt heard, you felt seen, you felt understood, you felt that the program or the coach, they were saying all the right things because they knew about all of your challenges that you're going through, or maybe the things that you wanted to accomplish in your life or in your business. And that's why it worked. So the
Yeah.
secret ingredient of a really impactful, effective messaging is voice of customer. That's what it is. It's pretty simple, but it's knowing your customer inside out, knowing their pain points, knowing their aspirations, knowing the hesitations that they're feeling, and including that in your messaging, including that in your online presence, in your marketing, in your website messaging, on your social. So that's the secret ingredient. And as a copywriter, I do that by interviewing clients. So I go through a series of questions and I get to know them a bit better. I take them through situational kind of questions. What was it like for you
Mm-hmm.
to work with that interior designer? What were the challenges that you went through? And when you take this very rich audience data and kind of sprinkle it or embed it in your messaging, then your customers on the other end of the screen feel like, yes, that's exactly what I'm going through. This is the
Yeah.
challenge that I'm feeling, and this is the solution that I need in my life. And they get this belief. So it's truly transformational. I can't stress it enough how transformational it is.
And I think it's something, Masha, that designers struggle with in that we all have expected our websites to be like portfolios. And it is, but I mean, like, it's about me.
Yeah,
It's what I do. This is the service I offer. This is the work I have done. This is who I am. And that obviously is part of it.
it
But you're
is.
touching on something hugely important. And I've heard someone refer to a lot of designers want their websites to be coffee table books. Like, here's
Yeah.
all my beautiful work. Look at it and hire me, but that's
Yeah.
not what gets clients to convert. They don't see themselves in that. They might admire that and
Yeah.
say, her work is beautiful, but knowing what your customers are saying, what they want. And I love that you actually interview the clients of the designers you do websites for to hear it from their mouths, not what we think the
Yeah.
clients wanted or needed or felt, but
Yeah.
actually asking them themselves. Are there words that come up that are ever surprising to you that you like designers wouldn't think to include on their website, but you see over and over again that clients felt like XYZ or had this to say about working with the designer?
Yeah. So obviously, every single client is different, and it's important to get to the truth of your clients. It's important.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to understand what are your clients' issues that they came to you with. So instead of words, why don't we kind of look at it this way? The certain questions that I ask, those specific questions bring out the copy gold. I call it like copy gold because
Mhm.
it's the stuff that resonates. So let's start from the top. So as I said, I do interview clients for a living. I can't even imagine writing website copy without interviewing clients because otherwise, like, interior design is interior design. You
Yeah.
can compare me to other copywriters, and I can compare one interior designer to another interior designer. Everybody, all of your clients want beautiful home. They want beautiful and functional home. Yes, it's
Yeah.
all the same, but you really have to get to the truth of, but what do they really want? So it's almost like peeling that onion. It's like, okay, let's dig a little bit deeper. Like,
Yeah.
why do we want a beautiful home? So there's a couple of questions. Well, I have more than a couple of questions that I asked, but I wanted to share with your audience some of the questions that I use and how I use them in website copy. So,
Okay.
so why don't we do that? So the very first question that I ask is, what was the challenge that brought you here today? What was it? So that tells us the problem that they're experiencing in their life right now. And things that I've heard through client interviews was, well, I just couldn't imagine running this huge renovation project myself. Or maybe they started doing it themselves, and then they, midway through, they realized they were way over with their head. There's way too much to do, trades to manage, all the things, all the detail, all the choices that you have to make. So this was the original challenge, that it was overwhelming. Overwhelmed. Speaking of the words, you asked me about the words.
Yeah.
Overwhelm and stress. That's like one of the biggest things that pops up in client interviews.
That's what clients say a lot, is that I was overwhelmed, I was stressed, and that's why I hired Joe Designer.
Yeah, it's interesting because you would think, okay, I wanted a beautiful home, but that's not why they happened to hire a designer. It's because it was so overwhelming and they couldn't possibly do that themselves. They wanted a professional to do it. And I've heard things like, I wanted to do it right from the beginning. I just want it done right. Not just done, not just, I want it done right from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. So one of the first questions is, what is that challenge that brought you here today? The second thing that I would ask is, what do you want? Like, what do you hope to accomplish? And that speaks to like the future pacing. Like, what is it that, your prospective clients want? Because then you take whatever it is that you learned about their desires or wants or needs, and then you incorporate that on your homepage or in your about page, on your services page. You incorporate that because this is the thing that they want. Typically, it is, we wouldn't say like it's a beautiful and functional home. There would be like levels deeper than that. I've heard some really evocative things like, I just wanted, I wanted to get all of my kids and grandkids for Christmas dinner and not turn anybody away, and have, rooms enough for everybody, like all of these things. That's really the things that your clients want. And obviously for your clients, it could be something completely different. It could be that I just want all of my things in my house to belong and not like, everywhere in a hot mess. So, you know what I mean? That's what client wants. Yeah. So important to ask about your wants. Another very important question that I always ask is, what are some of the hesitations that you felt or experienced in the beginning or as you were working on a project? So that speaks, the reason why that question is very important is because, as you know, in our website messaging, in our marketing messaging, our messaging has to not only address questions that your prospective clients have in their mind, but also proactively address. Like, they may have questions that they don't even know they have. They've never hired a designer. Like, not everybody hired a designer in the past. They don't even know what to expect. And it's so important to know what are some of those hesitations that they're feeling. And I think we talked on a couple of lives ago, we talked about like, well, some hesitations could be like, the project is taking longer than I anticipated. Maybe I thought it was like a 3-month thing. Maybe I thought it was a 5-month thing, So you want to kind of proactively address that. Hey, if you're hiring an interior designer, we're looking at like a 9 months, a year long, a year and a half, I don't know, however long it is. So you want to address those questions that they have, but you also want to manage their expectations. Or other hesitations could be, the timing, the expense. Of course, it's a lot more expensive than I thought it would be. Maybe it's, well, I thought when the designer comes in, they kind of just, do the whole thing, and there's a lot of like hand holding, or maybe it's not as proactive. So it's all up to you how you want to set it up, but your clients are feeling what they're feeling, and you want to address those questions. You want to talk about the things that you know about them, which is the hesitations, obstacles, concerns, things that they're worried about.
I like that you mentioned that, Masha, because I think we often try to do like the pretty shiny, here's our process and here's the results and yay. But
Yeah.
people want to know that you understand them. They want
Yes.
to know that you get them and their struggles and their challenges and their needs. And that's, you mentioned earlier too about hiring a coach or buying a course or program where you just go like, yes, that's the person for me. And that's the feeling I've had before of like, yes, this person gets me, I need them, take my money, solve my problem.
Yeah.
I joke about that, but there's so much truth in that. When I find the right person, I'm just like, here's my credit card,
Yes.
let's go. You obviously know what you're doing and you get me and my needs and wants and all of that. So I love that you're thinking about that from design perspective and
Yeah.
how can we reach those clients and have them go to our websites and say, take my money. You're
Yeah.
the right
No.
designer for me. I need you to build my addition, renovate my home, decorate my bedroom because I'm just stressed and overwhelmed. And you are clearly someone who gets me and what I want and need.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the here's my process. Like on a process or on a services page, typically what I see designers do is like here's my 5 7 step process, and it all looks great because a lot of times what we see is I take care of this and I take care of
Mm-hmm.
that. We manage everything, the whole thing. You don't have to worry about the whole thing. But when you proactively manage their other concerns that they didn't even know they had, you're being transparent. You're showing them, hey, I know renovation process is it's a complicated process. There are a lot of people involved. There are a lot of steps involved. There's
Yeah.
drawing, there's technical knowledge, all of these things. You want to talk about that. You don't want to overwhelm them with all of
Yeah.
these things because sometimes, it's too much and not everybody needs to know like about elevations and all the things that you do. That's like second nature to you. But
Yeah.
it is important to be transparent, and when you bring that level of detail into your services page and the way you're describing your process, you are not only showcasing your authority and knowledge and skill to your prospective customers, but you're
Mm-hmm.
also saying, hey, I know my stuff. Like, I'm going to take care of you. I know
Yes.
exactly what I'm doing. You're not going to feel a thing. I'm going to help you throughout the entire process. So I think it's so important to talk about this. And most importantly, to know what are the things that your prospective customers are worried about, because sometimes it
Mhm.
could be surprising. It's not just the price. It's never just the price. Oftentimes there's so many other things that they're worried about, like, will they get their home for the holidays, or
Mhm.
just thinking about my husband right now because he's working on a project right now, and he was asked, like, basically, is it going to be ready for Christmas? And he had to break it down, like, hard truth. It's not going to
Yeah.
be ready by Christmas because it takes a long time. There is like a certain process involved and all the things. You want to
Yeah.
make sure that you're very transparent with your customers about these things. Yeah.
I agree. And I think that's important too, because the clients, customers, clients, they're going to have those pain points. And to win the job, you can't just gloss over those and be like,
Yeah.
everything's going to be easy and fine and you'll be in by the holidays if that's not the case. And I think it's a balance of addressing, knowing that you can meet their needs, address their pain points, and being honest about your process, timelines, whatever it might
Yes.
be to get that strong relationship at the beginning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Here's another question that I always ask, and that so if
Mhm.
I was to categorize these questions into various categories, it would be like pain points, it would be aspirations or the wants and needs and goals, and then another concerns and
Yeah.
obstacles and things that they're worried about. But another important category is this client affinity. It's this natural sync between you and the client. So I always ask, the question that I ask is, what made you want to work? So me, I'm coming in as a copywriter when I interview
Yeah.
my clients, but obviously you can have your VA or whoever to interview your clients, because sometimes I think it's awkward having these
To do
conversations
it
with
yourself.
clients. It's like,
Yeah.
because you've worked on this project, and clients are a lot more eager opening it up to somebody else, like a third party. So if you're having your VA interview your client, ask them, what made you decide that she is the right person for the job? Because that things that I often hear, it's like, she really listened, or she really understood my vision. It could be the most surprising things. Like, sometimes you think, oh, it is definitely my process. My process is my
Yeah.
data. Like, I've got such a streamlined thing going and people appreciate it. But you just never know. Like, it could be the most surprising thing. And I hear things like, you know what? Every time I talk to her, she just knew right away what it is that I wanted. I didn't even know how to articulate my own vision, but she just, put it into words and it made it seem like, yes, she gets exactly what it is that I want to have in my home, or how I want to have my home. So definitely ask a question about, what is it about me that resonated with you? Sometimes it's not even job related, or like not job related. Obviously,
But it's
everything.
maybe more about personality
Yeah, it's
or
like a
something.
personality, like a vibe of some sort. Vibe. You can't even imagine how many times I've heard about a vibe. Like I'm dealing with a lot of like younger interior designers, and obviously they have like sometimes a younger client base, and a lot of times for them it's the chemistry, the vibe. It's
Mhm.
so extremely important. So definitely ask a question about the client affinity. What was it about me? Maybe it was the personality. Maybe it was the way I managed the client relationship, or how I made you feel comfortable. I had this one client talk about a designer. And she's like, I don't know, she remembered my dog's birthday and my kid's birthday, and she brought muffins and croissants every time to a meeting. It's things
Yeah.
like that. And you want to hear these things because oftentimes you're not only getting audience data that you can then incorporate into your marketing messaging, but you're also getting amazing customer testimonials. And I think we talked about customer
Yeah.
testimonials before, because typically we get very kind of dry, short testimonials that, like, you worked with a person for a year, and then you get, yeah, she did an excellent job and my home looks beautiful and da 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 da. It almost like lacks emotion. But
Yeah.
when I
Highly
hear,
recommend her. And you're like,
highly
that's
recommend her. I
great.
know, I know. And then you hear things like that. She was like, the most genuine person, or the most authentic person, and she brought dog treats to meetings, like things like that. They
Yeah.
evoke an emotion. They make us feel something, and that's what we want our messaging to do. We want our messaging to make others feel something, whatever that is, whatever that feeling that you're going for. So
I
definitely.
think that sums it up so well. Like our talk today being about the secret ingredient of a high impact website, it's the clients need to feel something.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what it is. You want to evoke an emotion. You don't want to just, somebody coming to your website is like, oh, okay, she's good at this, at this, at this. No, you want for something. Basically, what you want is you want for something to stick in your ideal client's mind. When they leave your website, when they click on 100 tabs and move on with their day, it was like, ooh, it was that. It was that
Yeah.
person, like something that captured their attention, or
Yes.
pulled on their heartstrings, something that made them feel something.
Yep.
So
And that's
very important.
because you get them and they
You
see
get
that in
them.
your copy.
And the way to do that is by talking to your clients, by listening to your clients, by hearing them, and then using that data, not just because I do ask in my client questionnaire, like, tell me about about your customers. And then I get
Mhm.
this regular spiel because everybody did a client avatar or ICU or whatever that the name is. Like, yeah, they're
Mhm.
a couple and they're in their 50s and they make this much. No, go deeper, go deeper. What do they really want? Because that's the
Yeah.
true audience insights that you can then incorporate, and those audience insights convert into
Yep.
clients.
That is great advice. So the website needs to be about the client. They need to see themselves in your words and
Yeah.
know that, yep, that's the designer for me. They get me. She gets me. He understands what I'm going through right now.
Exactly. And you touched on something very important right now, words. So we're not, when we do these client interviews and when we're listening to the clients, we're not only getting those audience insights, we're also listening to the language that they use. Because you don't want to throw design lingo around them. You want to use the language that your clients are actually using,
Yeah.
then take that language and incorporate into that website messaging, because you know that it has to be familiar to your audience. It can't be the lingo that they don't really resonate with. It has to
Yeah.
be the language that they actually use. So very important. Language and words, very important.
Yep. Nancy always said it's got to be understandable by a fifth grader. Like your
Oh
website should
yeah,
not have all sorts of fancy jargon and lingo and designer words because
it's
people
impressive to no one. It might be impressive to someone, but not to your clients. You just want to.
probably not. No.
No, you just want to. It's like, okay, I get that. I get that. That's what we want. We just want to be understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, and that's it. The clients just wanna be understood, and they wanna see that you are that person for them, and the fastest way to do that is with your website copy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Get your audience
Awesome.
insights captured and incorporate that into website copy, into your marketing messaging, into your social, to make sure that the message is consistent and
Yeah.
consistently understood by your ideal clients.
I love it. And Masha, you are so gifted at that. And that is what I think really sets you apart as a copywriter. So if designers are going, Masha, she's the one for me, how do people get in touch with you? And what's the best way for people to reach out?
Absolutely. So come to my Instagram. It's masha.copywriter. That's where I share a ton of different strategies and tactics that you can incorporate into your messaging, or on my website, contentvertical.com. I have a couple of offers, and I actually enrolled a different offer. I thought it would be interesting. It's just audience insights. So if you're not ready for a full-blown website copy and you just want your clients interviewed and get those golden nuggets about your ideal clients, I have that offer where I can interview your clients and put it together into like this brand DNA or brand Bible kind of book, where it's like, hey, your ideal clients have these challenges. Your ideal clients have these aspirations. This is what they say about you. This is what surprises them about working with you. This was their favorite thing in the project. So all of these things, I incorporated into the offer. It's called Ideal Client Blueprint. So if you're interested in that, contentvertical.com.
That's amazing, Masha. I didn't know about that service. So now I'm going, I'm like, I might be calling you a friend.
So it's good.
I think that's great. So if you don't need full blown web copy,
Yeah.
but you just want to get more of the right words that are going to have a high impact and help convert,
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Masha. I always appreciate hearing your insight and expertise, and you are so generous with your knowledge. We appreciate it. And we'll see you here next month.
Thanks, Leslie. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.